Sanctuary cities debate number 1. The proposition, sanctuary cities are safer because they encourage good relationships between undocumented immigrants and law enforcement, with contributions provided by Sonny Alden, Benjamin Billingsley, Benjamin Burroughs, Jordan Call, and Abigail Chapman. Sanctuary city defined. A sanctuary city is a city in which the local government and police protect undocumented immigrants and refugees from deportation by federal authorities. Sanctuary cities where law enforcement cannot question crime suspects about their immigration status. Why support? The federalist form of government in the United States means that states and the federal government cooperate in many issues. States should cooperate with federal government to protect the Constitution of the United States. Local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies cooperate on many issues of national security. However, when local police departments are working closely with federal law enforcement overseeing deportation, the incentive of local immigrant communities to work with law enforcement does not exist. This creates an unsafe environment for communities with large immigrant populations. If an illegal immigrant witnesses a crime, what incentive do they have to report the crime, knowing that they could be pulled away from their families and deported? When schools retain records about students' birth countries or immigration status, that information can legally be requested by federal investigators. Why not keep such places as schools as safe havens where students can learn without fear of deportation? Deeper dive. The term sanctuary city is not defined in federal law. It has grown to more of a political term instead of a legal term. States, counties, and cities can be self-declared sanctuary cities without actually adopting any formal policies relating to immigration. This loosely relates to a city's willingness to cooperate with the federal government on immigration matters. There has been significant media coverage regarding sanctuary cities. President Trump signed an executive order to withhold federal funding from self-declared sanctuary cities. However, the executive order has been deemed by the Department of Justice to be unenforceable, as those powers lie solely with Congress. Title 8 of the United States Code, Section 1373, is the only code that relates to requirements of cities to cooperate with the federal government on immigration matters. There it states that cities cannot prohibit communication with the federal government on matters of citizenship and immigration status. Sanctuary cities simply do not have to collect the information and then have nothing to withhold from federal investigators. A basic understanding of cities and states' relationship with the federal government can be understood by quoting Ronald Reagan's inaugural address from 1981. All of us need to be reminded that the federal government did not create the states. The states created the federal government. Sanctuary cities. There are states considered sanctuary states. Those include California, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, and Vermont. There are 18 states that do not offer sanctuary, but they have 88 cities and counties that do. A couple of examples of these cities are Washington, D.C. and San Francisco as follows. Washington, D.C. is considered a super sanctuary city. D.C. has about 70,000 immigrants and roughly 25,000 are undocumented. Washington, D.C. and its suburbs have access to a $1 million fund to provide legal help to immigrants in the U.S. illegally. This fund helps with legal aid and workshops to any immigrant in need. Washington, D.C. has a diverse police department that anticipates the needs of immigrants within their community. On average, in sanctuary cities like D.C., statistics show that they have 35.5 fewer crimes reported per 10,000 people in sanctuary cities compared to non-sanctuary counties. Median household annual income is average $4,353 higher in sanctuary counties compared to non-sanctuary counties. The poverty rate is 2.3% lower on average in sanctuary counties compared to non-sanctuary counties. Unemployment is on average 1.1% lower in sanctuary counties compared to non-sanctuary counties. While the results hold true across sanctuary jurisdictions, the sanctuary counties with the smallest populations see the most pronounced effects. Altogether, the data suggests that when local law enforcement focuses on keeping communities safe rather than becoming entangled in federal immigration enforcement efforts, communities are safer and community members stay more engaged in local economy. This in turn brings benefits to individual households, communities, counties, and the economy as a whole. San Francisco is a major California city with a long history of welcoming immigrants of all backgrounds, regardless of citizenship. As of 2019, there are approximately 880,000 residents in the city, including 285,000 immigrants. Of these, some 105,000 have an undocumented migrant status. In 1989, San Francisco passed the City and County of Refuge Ordinance, also referred to as the Sanctuary Ordinance. This law prohibits city employees from using city resources and funds to assist ICE in the enforcement of national immigration laws, unless assistance is required by state or federal law. This law has had a profound impact on the trust between residents and the city government. All residents, regardless of citizenship documentation, may now contact police, fire department, or other city agencies without fear of inquiry in citizenship status. This law also helps residents feel comfortable accessing benefits and public health services without fear of reporting citizenship status. In 2013, San Francisco passed the Due Process for All Ordinance. This law limits when law enforcement officers can give ICE advance notice of a person's release from a county jail. Crime has been decreasing in San Francisco in recent years, particularly violent offenses. In 2019, violent crime and homicides reached a 50-year low. San Francisco's openness to immigrants has made the city the fifth highest tourist city in the United States, with 16 million visitors per year. San Francisco is one of the wealthiest and most prosperous cities in the United States, with a GDP of $500.71 billion in 2017 and an exceptionally high growth rate of 5.4%. Anticipating rebuttals. Rebuttal. Sanctuary cities decline to detain immigrants that have dangerous criminal convictions and release them back into the community. This makes sanctuary cities unsafe for undocumented immigrants and citizens alike. Response. Undocumented immigrants are less likely to report if they were victims of a crime. Undocumented immigrants are less likely to report crimes or offer voluntary information about a crime. Immigrant cooperation with local police makes sanctuary cities safer. Zoe Lofgren, U.S. Representative California, stated, "When people are afraid the police might ask about immigration status, they are less likely to report crimes and cooperate with investigations. As a result, criminals thrive and the general public suffers." Rebuttal. The Department of Justice requires that almost all governments that receive federal grant money must submit compliance with federal laws. 8 U.S. Code 1373 states that a federal, state, or local government entity or official may not prohibit or in any way restrict any government entity or official from sending to or receiving from the Immigration and Naturalization Service information regarding the citizenship or immigration status, lawful or unlawful, of any individual by declining to detain the undocumented immigrant for the requested time. The city is not following federal immigration law. Response. The 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution provides the separation of federal and state powers. The amendment prevents the federal government from persuading state and local governments to enforce immigration. Congress cannot make state or local governments collect immigration status in order to share it with the federal government. Because the data is never collected, the governments are not defying federal law. In conclusion, sanctuary cities are defined as a safe place for immigrants, have historically adjusted to the needs of the community, encourage police and community positive relations, provide for an extensive legal history supporting sanctuary cities, and our nation has a great many sanctuary cities that support these arguments.